welcome to my video. My name is Kim. Last week, I guess it was last week, I don't know, I don't pay attention. The last time I made a video, I talked about books that I was going to read for the fall, and I have this big old stack over here, and the first book that I had chosen that to work through on this book, or on this pile, was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, this whole book is short, but The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde itself is very short. It's only 81 pages. I was trying to find the beginning. It starts here and ends there. So, like, that's 81 pages. You know, it's a short story. And, you know, before I read the book, I had only known about the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde mostly from like Bugs Bunny cartoons and Sylvester and Tweety. I really like it when Tweety turns into Hyde, but whatever. So that was all I knew. So then I went into this not entirely blind. I mean, I understood the gist of it, but you know, I didn't like have literary experience with it. So it was kind of fun and exciting. And for those of you who don't know, it's a story of a scientist who makes a tonic with the intention of dividing his baser self from his more virtuous self. So he's gonna like take like his sinful characteristics and push them into one personality, and then his virtuous, like good personality traits and put them into another personality. So then the bad one doesn't have to feel any guilt for the bad things he's going to do, and the good one doesn't have to feel any guilt about the bad things that he's done. So, like, basically he was trying to remove human responsibility or culpability from the human experience, which of course is garbage, but you know, scientists like to play around sometimes, and, you know, the whole just because you can doesn't mean you should dilemma plays a part in that. So I was reading the book, and it's a short story. I don't want to give too much away, but one thing that just really stood out with to me with this book was that the first time that Dr. Jekyll saw himself as Mr. Hyde in a mirror, like everyone else around him finds him repugnant. Like they just think Edward Hyde is just, there's just something wrong with that guy. He is disturbed, and there is something gross about him that they don't want to be around. But the first time Henry Jekyll sees him, that's not his response. He said, "I was conscious of no repugnance, rather of a leap of welcome. This too was myself. It seemed natural and human. In my eyes it bore a livelier image of the spirit. It seemed more express and single than the imperfect and divided countenance I had been hitherto accustomed to call mine." Like, he has scientific curiosity. Like, he's not even disturbed by this warped individual when he first sees it. And it just strikes me like how like our own faults don't seem so bad, and how somebody else's faults, even if they're exactly the same ones that we have, they, you know, oh, that's gross when somebody else has it, but mine, my problems are not that bad. Sure, I have a temper, but I'm not like that guy that flies off the handle. Or sure, I'm an egomaniac, but that guy, whew, he's a narcissist. There's something wrong with him. But I found that so funny, because that's such the human condition. Like, that's how we are. And the whole dividing the bad from the good, like, it's not possible, because when you're confronted with just the bad, that's horrid. And when you're confronted with just the good, that's kind of uneasy as well. Like sometimes when somebody is just a little too nice, it kind of weirds you out. It's like, okay, what's he hiding? What's she, up to? So basically, humans, at least in this life, need a little of that edge, but we also need to embrace the good. So I really like this story. 81 pages. If you haven't read it, you should read it. Just because, it's 81 pages. You can do it. I highly recommend at least reading The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. As to why I didn't read the rest of the book, even though I loved Hyde, well, not Hyde, but the book, I really, really am a mood reader, and I really, really was not in the mood to be reading like something dark and disturbing and all that, even though it's spooky season, I know, but really I want fluff. So while I was reading this book, I did, read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'll put it there because I don't have any flat surfaces because I need to declutter my house. But anyway, while I was reading that, I was also reading The Door-to-Door Bookstore. And it's a cozy, like, character-driven sort of book. It doesn't seem to have a whole lot of plot to it. Basically, there's an old man, he works at a bookstore, and he delivers books to people in his village. It's a German book. It was translated from German. And a little girl is watching him, and she's, like, lonely. And so she kind of starts following him around. And he just delivers whatever books the people request. And she suggests that he should deliver the books that they need instead. So, like, the depressed lady doesn't need depressing books, even though she loves them. She should be reading, something more joyful, and that sort of thing. So, he, of course, balks at that because, what a person reads is their own choice. But, I don't know. I haven't read all of it. I'm only on page 105. Did I even tell you? The Door-to-Door Bookstore by, I hate it when they put the library stickers on the front. Cartsen, Henn. And it's translated by Melody Shaw. Anyway, I am enjoying this one, and I recommend it, but only if you want kind of a sleepy, nothing really exciting is happening sort of book. So that's what I've been reading, like to kind of take the edge off in between reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I'm reading that, but what I'm really aching to be reading, because I've been wanting fluffy romance and not, dark and depressing, is this. Now, this book, Falling in Love in like a hotel type place, by Erin Branscom. Branscom? I'll let you figure that out. Branscom. Anyway, is one of a series, and they don't have this series in my library. I don't really request books from my library, but if I love this, I might, because I also don't like to spend like full price on a book, and especially if I don't know if I like it. Like a trophy book is one thing, or a book that's ginormous, like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. That one I bought because it's ginormous, and I don't want it to be like, 60% through and have them, need it back or whatever. So I got that so I can, mark it up and do what I want with it. But anyway, and take as long as I want. But this one is what I've been wanting to read. I don't really know what it's about. I don't really want to know what it's about. But it's fluffy, and there are puppy dogs on it, and a dark-haired guy, which, I mean, dark-haired guys, they're the thing. It's like Henry Cavill. Anyway, so I'm thinking I'm going to start this one probably tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. So I don't even know where I got this. Probably at the Dollar Tree or at the Friends of the Library. But I do plan on starting this book. And then after the fluffy, book thing passes, and after I finish the door-to-door bookstore as well, I'm going to put this one back in its home, so I don't want to have it there. Something I wanted to read that I don't think should be too fat or too slow or too difficult to read is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Now this one, I learned my lesson. The last time I read a Shirley Jackson, I read the intro and the person spoiled it. And I'm still mad about that, and it's been like a year, but I don't care, I'm still mad. So, this time I'm not reading that introduction, so all these pages are nothing. It's just that, and I can enjoy that. So I don't want to read anything on the back. I'm not going to let anything spoil me. Like, I just, it's kind of like, sports people when they miss the big game, so they taped it, and they don't want to know who won. They don't want to know anything. Like, if they see somebody wearing, their team shirt or whatever, they just run the other way. So that's where I'm at. I want to go into this unspoiled and enjoy a Shirley Jackson. And since I can't do that with the other book, We've Always Lived in the Castle, I'm going to do it with this one, hopefully. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my to-be-read pile for the next week-ish. And then on October 1st, it's my intention to begin Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So I'll move this to the nightstand so it, it's there looking at me and encouraging me, like, come on, let's start, let's read it. But really, the next week or so, The Haunting of Hill House, if it's anything like We've Always Lived in the Castle, it should only take a couple days to read because it was like really exciting and I wanted to read it, so I was like going through it quickly. And the door-to-door bookstore, it's only like I have like half of it left to do, so I'm not worried about that. And Falling in Love, that should be another 2-day thing because it's a romance. So figure, what is today, the 27th? So done with this on the 30th, on the 30th, on the 30th, if I'm reading all three at the same time, which is what I've been doing. I never used to be a multiple book at a time kind of girl, but like really I've become that girl. And then this for October. So I'm looking forward to this, but I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything, and I've avoided it purposefully to not know. So I think it's like a magician or something. No sneezing. Okay, so anyway, so these are my books for the next week or so. Well, that one's for the next month or so, but try not to have a glare, but what are you going to do? You need light. Lights, Aziz. Or Aziz light. Whatever. Anyway, so this is my pile of books. I'm excited to get to them. And I'm glad that I read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So if you've never read it, you're putting it off, it's 81 pages. You can do it. And it's worth it. It's just such a good story about human nature and the duality between you know, like being really bad and really good, and like how everyone has to kind of fight their inner demons. And I really liked it. So yeah, read that. And I'll keep you posted. Probably when I finish these two, I'll make another video. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.